Welcome to Talking Business and Life with Claudio Relsano and Steve Mancini. Claudio and Steve will share their business and life experience to help you grow your business and improve your life. Here's Claudio and Steve.
Good evening and welcome to Talking Business and Life. I am your host, Steve Mancini, and unfortunately my co-host Claudio Relsano could not be here today. So Claudio, I miss you. I'll call you after we record, and I hope you're having a wonderful day at appointment after appointment after appointment after appointment, and that is sarcasm. But I did bring in a very special guest. As everyone knows, at times I try to speak Italian. And of course, I have native Italian speakers who are all more than willing to correct my Italian pretty regularly. So I said, you know what? Basta con questo. Voglio imparare la lingua. And so I said, I'm going to go get the best. Well, the best wasn't available, so no, I'm just kidding. I got a very favorite guest today because I have been watching her videos for years. 4 years, and because she does an absolutely fantastic job of laying out how to learn the language. Now, the show is called Talking in Business and Life. And you say, what the hell does this have to do with business? Well, this is a good episode because there are a lot of people that have passions in life. And just because you have a passion in something does not necessarily mean you're good at it. But if you're good at something that you are passionate about, you can make that a very successful career. And so my guest has done exactly that. And not only am I going to have Marta on here from Passione, Italiana, I'm very excited. I'm also going to have one of her students, and I'm going to flip my camera away from her because she's been on and she didn't even know it the whole time. But that's perfect because we're coming back to me to say hello. But I'm going back to my special guest who's in the studio. Chrissy, how are you?
Good, Steve. How are you?
I am ecstatic. I had the camera on you the whole time, by the way.
I saw
and
it, but I didn't know.
No, I was totally screwed up because the problem is I have two. Lizzie, tell you something. I'm doing audio, video, cameras, and I'm waving to Marta right now.
Seems a one-man show.
But it can be done. So, Chrissy, I'm going to start with you. Then you're going to introduce Marta.
Absolutely.
Because you've been a student of hers for years.
Yep.
But, Chrissy, you obviously you had a passion and a desire to learn Italian language.
Yes.
And and by the way, for the folks that are listening, it isn't limited to wanting to take Italian languages. You can insert wanting to learn or do anything, but ultimately you find someone that can teach you well. Mm-hmm. And so your passion at the time is, hey, I want to learn Italian language. Okay, so you learn Italian language, but now you have to find somebody that can do that well. Now, I want to start with what was the reason that you wanted to learn Italian? And by the way, I'm going to put the camera back with me for a second. Hello. Because it's funny because you're just kind of like in the zone.
I'm just like waiting for my turn.
But I want to talk about what drove your passion to want to learn the language, and then tell me a little bit about what it took for you to find Marta, and then you're going to introduce Marta. And don't worry, Marta, we didn't bring you on here for nothing.
Hi.
Thank you.
Well, my background, because I'm Italian-American, so I'm 100% Italian, always wanted to learn. My dad was an immigrant, and he came over when he was maybe like 12 or something. So, but he always had friends and family that he was talking to in Italian when I was young. And I thought, what's like a secret language? Like, I want to know. So I always had this in me that I wanted to know and learn. And then as I got older, I was able to kind of follow that more. I remember asking my dad when he was young, and to your point, Steve, he said, I don't know how to teach you, because he obviously was just born there. So he tried to tell me a few things here and there. When I was older, I was able to actually kind of go and look into that myself. And what really spurred me on is because I was getting my Italian citizenship. So long story short, because there's different ways to go about it, and if you go through your bloodline, it's possible since I'm 100%, but it was complicated. So I went through my husband, because my husband's a native Italian. So I went through marriage, and to do that, you have to have a B1 certificate in language. So my husband can't teach me because, to your point, just because he's native Italian, and it doesn't really work that great between, family members either. It's just too emotional. So, but I went to go for this B1 exam, and after I received that, I decided to just keep going, and decided that I was ready for an actual teacher. I was at that level, and I, like you, would watch things on YouTube. There's a bunch of things that you can watch, and one of my favorites was Passione, Italiana. And I loved Marta and her videos. And I just felt that there was the way that she taught was spoke to me, if you would. There was the chemistry there. So I kind of sought her out. And, you know, we were able to find availability with her. And I've been there, Marta, for how long? 5 years now?
3 years, yeah.
Yeah. So
Now
it's been a while.
Yeah.
Let's introduce our special guest now, because I'm actually excited. So Marta, I was in the same boat. I'm putting the camera on you. So the camera's on you, so smile. But I want to tell you, Marta from Passione Italiana, very, very popular YouTube videos.
Yes.
And I will tell you, Marta, you do such a great job that I remember that I actually have a notebook and I would play the videos over and over because I cannot figure out Anzi and Benke and Afinke. I still struggle with those because I can't, you know, the funny thing is I can't even figure out what it is in English. And I'm trying
some of that, yeah.
You know, and I think a lot of people don't understand. You learn a lot about your native language when you study a foreign language, because they'll tell you about all these different tenses and you don't even know that you're speaking them because it's natural.
Yeah, but I don't know about you, Steve, but since we're English speakers, maybe it's the same for you, that we didn't learn a lot of the terminology that they do in Europe.
No.
And when they start teaching you certain things, you're like, wait, I'm sorry, what is that? And
So go learn English, then come back and learn Italian.
you do. You have to kind of learn those things first, but it works out. But yeah, so Marta is my teacher. She's fabulous, and it is really important to have a chemistry with your teacher and who's going to be taking you on this journey. So I got lucky because I hit gold the first time.
I want to go on record as saying my first instructions were not so good. In fact, I felt, to be honest, that I was, Marta, I'm not just saying this. This is why I really want, and Chrissy will tell you, I said, I want Marta because I probably learned a lot more watching your videos than I did in my early Italian lessons, because you have a natural ability. You're a natural teacher, and that is huge. So Marta from Passione Italiana, we're done singing your praises. Welcome to the show, Marta. Marta, welcome. Now you can speak because you've got the camera on, the audio's on.
Finally, it's off of me.
Well, thank you, Steve and Chrissy, for this opportunity. And yeah, actually, Chrissy said something, and you as well, really important, because she said you need to have a connection with your teacher, so student and teacher. And I think that's the key of the passion in teaching, because you need to create a relationship with, sorry for my English.
Your English is better than my Italian, Marta.
That's great.
I'm better in Italian, I swear.
You're fantastic in English.
In both.
You know what? I want to say real quick. I want to say something, though. I love it when foreigners, they'll have broken English. They'll say, I'm sorry for my English. I'm like, I wish I spoke your language as well as you spoke my language.
At the same level.
So Marta, don't you worry, you're fine. Most Americans don't speak English as well as you speak English.
That's true.
Well,
We speak American, Marta. But no, so let's talk about that. Let's start. When did you first kind of feel that, hey, I have a passion for teaching? When did that start?
it's a good question, actually, because I wasn't born thinking I will be a teacher. I studied at university, and I studied languages and literature. But it was more on literature than language. And I actually was quite sure I didn't want to be a teacher, like the traditional idea of the classical teacher. But then when I finished university, I was like, well, now what am I going to do with my life? I have to find a job. And then I started looking into things, and I tried with a course for teaching Italian as a foreign language. And then it was like, I don't know, like an epiphany, an illumination. I was like, oh my gosh, this is wonderful. I like doing this.
Tombola.
Immediately during the course. And I said, well, I think I found what I want to do in my life. And I just felt I was feeling great when I found myself the first practical teaching lesson that I had to do. So after a few theoretical things, they said, "Okay, now it's your turn. These are your guinea pigs, your class. Now it's your turn to teach this." And then I was there in front of the class, and I said, "Oh my gosh, this feels great."
I want to go on
I actually
record.
do what I'm telling them to do.
No, I want to go on record as saying I'm actually a university professor, and what I will tell you is I want to say I had a passion for teaching, and then in a university environment, and I want to talk about this with you, Marta and Chrissy. In a university environment, a lot of students feel like I have to go to school and get a degree, so their passion isn't always there. Now, some students are fantastic, and some are just going through the motions. But no one's going to study Italian unless it's a passion for them. So, Chrissy, I want to start with you really quick because you talked about how it was a passion. And then, Marta, I'm going to ask you a question. How do you feed off of the passion of your students? So, Chrissy, start with you and then Marta.
Sure. What was the question?
The question was, what is the meaning of life? No, talk about how that desire and for that passion to learn the language feeds your effort into learning.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. If you don't have the proper motivation, as you said, you're going to get burned out. You're going to be flat. You're not going to be able to go through because language learning is not linear by any means. That's a myth. It doesn't go steadily up. It goes up and down. There's low points. And I probably would have quit so many times with frustration if I didn't have the passion, the motivation to continue. Because for me, like I said, it was rooted from when I was young that I wanted to learn. I have family there that I want to be able to communicate with, and not to mention, like I said, in-laws and things like that. So I want to be able to be independent and stand on my own 2 feet when I'm there. But it's rooted deep down from when I was young. So without that, the motor dies. You can't push through those plateaus and move on and move on. So it's really important to find your why and the motivation for it. So it's different for everybody. But for me, that's kind of where it lies. I just love the country so much. I'm very affectionate towards it. So
Now, Marta, how does that then feed you as a teacher now? Now hey, I've got these students coming to me and they have a passion. Does that feed you even more?
Absolutely. Yeah. Actually, I have. I think to be a good teacher, you have to be very, I don't know if it's the right word in English, empathic or sympathetic. I don't know. You have to understand what your students are feeling and how they are when they are learning. So you really need to connect to them and give them what they really need.
yeah,
So you always have to be very careful and very, very aware of how your students are feeling, and then give them
yeah,
the passion and what they need. So they need to feel comfortable all the time. When you start understanding that the comfort is fading away, you have to act immediately and use their passion to build your lessons. This is what I do,
I want to chime in on
based
that.
on their interest and their their interest and what they love and what they want to talk about. That in most cases is what I want to talk about as well. So it's
yeah.
like with Chrissy, actually. I'm not going to say what we're talking about, Chrissy.
No, that's okay.
You know.
If you know, you know.
See, that's why I want to learn the language, though, so I can talk about people and they don't know what I'm saying.
That too.
But Marta, you hit on something because it's not even. And I was going to say, people were, if you're watching the episode and you think, well, my business has nothing to do with language, but it's not. Your students are ultimately your customers. And if your customer doesn't want to be your customer, then you have to say, is it on them or is it on me? So if a student says, you know what, I'm done with this, you got to say, well, was it something I did and you weren't learning? Or is it you just don't have the passion and don't want to do it anymore?
Right.
Go ahead, Chris.
No, I think that it's kind of like a trainer or a coach, right?
Right.
So you have to kind of, as a good teacher, get them over those humps and kind of guide them and lead them along the way. And when they hit a hump, maybe pivot here, pivot there, to what Marta was saying. But it applies in any business as well. So.
Now, Marta, I want to ask you because, again, I think of your business is that of teaching students Italian language and the culture. You guys do more than that. I'm very familiar with your website. In fact, I will tell you a funny story. I actually teach at the university. I teach part-time at another university, and I'm actually the honorary Italian consular here in Pittsburgh. And I have been trying to find, my problem is I've been trying to find time to study regularly on my Italian. So my Italian, of course, comes up and down. So let me ask you that. When you're teaching students, you're working around, a lot of times around their schedule. Do you ever feel that, hey, this student's not getting better, maybe it's them not putting the effort in, and okay, but then what do you do about it? Because you want them to learn the language because it's passion for you to teach them, but you can't necessarily force them to be passionate about them. So when you see them starting to slip away, how do you proactively say, hey, you need to come back regularly, I know you want to learn this, like how do you motivate them?
Actually, to be honest, it didn't happen very often that day.
It's your superior teaching, Marta. No, well, again, why would they pay to come? Why would they pay and not show up? Right.
No, I think it's because you mentioned you're a teacher. I think there's different kind of teaching. I mean, teaching a university student is completely different than teaching a language outside from formal education. And also in teaching languages, there's a difference between teaching someone who needs to take an exam because he needs, I don't know, how do you say permesso di soggiorno?
What cameras on Chrissy while she thinks?
I can't think of it either in English, but
no sono sicuro.
Like the card in America, like
a green card.
Oh,
yeah.
They need
to stay.
Got it. Carta verde.
Because they need
more or less, like permission to stay. The permission to stay.
Sì, like ho visto.
So they need it for work, so they need a formal certification, or which is most of the cases for Italian language is more a passion. So the majority of our students are just they start with the passion. They they want to learn Italian because they want to go there on holiday. They love the sound of the language. They have a boyfriend, a girlfriend, a wife, a husband.
A mistress.
They want to watch.
I'm kidding.
Yeah.
That's another show, Steve.
They're tired.
We've got to make the podcast edgy, Chrissy.
Yeah, so this is different because the main focus for them is communicate. It's not speaking perfectly in Italian. So they don't, I don't know, in Italian we say they don't, non si strappano I capelli. They don't tear their hair because they said
the wrong thing.
a subjunctive, which was not correct.
By the way, I want to, Marta, really quickly, I'd never heard of the word subjunctive until I studied Italian. Just want to say. So I wanted to say that again to Chrissy's point. We learned English by studying Italian.
Yeah. How often did you hear, the gerund or gerundio?
Gerundio? No, I've never thought of it.
The ing, right? That's probably what you heard.
I just never thought of it.
Verbs.
I thought it was present. Everything is present, past, or future in English. That's it.
We were taught just the ing, like the ing form. We weren't taught like gerundio. Yeah.
Well, no. So Marta, I want to talk about a little. Let's talk about because Passione Italiana is very successful, And again, I think your videos, they're absolutely wonderful. And I'm not just saying that. You've actually helped me learn Italian, and you don't even know. Well, now you know, but you don't even know how many people you are impacting through your videos. Like if you think you're wasting your time, you're absolutely. I was waving to somebody at the same time at the window. But if you think
we're in a fishbowl here.
Yeah, we're in a fishbowl, so people are walking by. But those videos are actually helping people all over the world learn the language, and I do want to thank you for that. But I also want to say this: when I was looking, to listen to videos. And by the way, I have an idea for you. Before I go one step, I don't want to forget this idea. The one thing I wish there was more of was basic audio conversations that I can listen to at night when I'm laying in bed. Just a simple conversation, and don't stop. Just have a 20-minute conversation. There's one gentleman, I forgot his name. He does these like a 10-minute skit in Italian. He'll explain it. Hey, I'm going to do this, this, and this, and then he does it in Italian. So you listen, and you can listen over and over, and you hear a conversation. I wish more people would do that. Believe it or not, having recorded conversations to just listen to is not as common. So I actually search for a lot of Italian language video. And when you came up, when the first time, this is years ago, and I was actually looking for specific things. I think at the time I was learning how, I don't even know, what is credo che and spero che, what do we call it?
Congiuntivo.
Congiuntivo.
Oh, mamma mia.
So I was trying to learn a little more practice. So I found your videos. Now, with that said, there are a lot of videos from a lot of people online. Yours are very successful, and they're very good. Number one, but there are other good videos. So what is it that you all are doing that's making you better than your peers? Because you do have competition. Now you don't have a problem getting students because you're very good at it. But there are a lot of Italian language businesses out there. But you guys are very successful. What is it about you? What are you doing different that's making you successful?
I think that, I don't know if I'm better than other teachers.
Don't be shy, Marta. You're the best.
What we are trying to do is to break down difficult concepts into easy things to understand. I think what I do well is this. So what I was saying before was I normally feed from my students. So when I first started doing my videos, I was terrified because I was saying I'm good when I've got someone I'm talking to. So I can't do this without the students. It's impossible for me to make videos. It's absolutely, I was adamant about that. So then making more and more videos, if you've seen the first one, I was actually talking to you. I was asking you to repeat. The audience. So I incorporated the interactiveness, which is, I don't know if it's a word.
Yes, yeah. Perfect.
Perfecto.
Interactive of my normal lesson as much as possible in the videos. So trying to make the people, which I don't know, who are watching my videos, trying to take them into the video. I'm not going to them, they're coming inside the video and to try to make them part of a virtual class that I'm giving. So this is what I think is different. And also Italian grammar is, as you know, both of you, is not easy. It's not a walk in the park, as we say. So it's not like drinking a cup of water, a glass of water, as we say.
No.
So if you find that your passion, which is studying and learning Italian, speaking Italian, is difficult, and you can't overcome all these hassles, then you give up. But if I make every step easier for you, maybe you stay with me. So this is what I do. Okay, Italian is difficult, subjunctive is difficult, but let's take it step by step. And you will see that it's still difficult, but you will get it.
In fact, one of the things that I'll have to say about Marta, because to her point, I always think of her videos before I knew her, as like a digital classroom. So if there was a specific topic I needed to learn, that's where I wanted to go. Yep. And Marta's so great at streamlining it and making it. I get off the video, I'm like, oh, that was easy. But then I go to speak it, and I'm like, what was that again? So
I find myself, I've rewatched some of those videos probably 50 times.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Because our brains take a while to...
Again, but to me, there's still the pain in the buttocks for me is the ones that are like, I don't even know what they're called in English, like the however, otherwise, everywhere. What,
those linking verbs.
Yeah,
those are my favorites. I love them.
I can't figure out, because now I'm confused. Some of them you use subjunctive, and some of them you don't. It's so confusing. Marta, it's so confusing.
Steve, to your point before, I think one of the best things...
I know.
Go ahead, Marta.
Go ahead, Marta. You're going to tell us it's... Marta, if you're going to confirm that it's confusing, I'm going to agree with you.
It is. But you can get it. And then the thing is that you have to practice. You have to use the language. This is what we do at Passione Italiana with our lessons. It's not just, okay, this is how it works. It's not just breaking down difficult concepts into small chunks, but it's also now you have to use it. You discover the rule, because I'm not telling you like in the videos. Normally it's, I will help you understand the rule, and then you will have to use it. I won't give you anything that you won't be able to use at the end of the lesson or the sessions that we're doing, because what I give you, it will come out of your mouth at the end.
Yeah, definitely. When we do our lessons,
too much.
Yeah, when we do our lessons, it's all to your point, Steve, that input that you're getting, that you're looking for, is gold, because you have to get it in before it comes out. So the output is always later, it comes after. But it's in there once you're getting all that input, watching different things. And when Marta and I are on lessons together, we, as Marta knows, we have a lot of talking about things in context, and then we review things, and then we put them into action. So we talk about stuff that's going on relevant to me, because that's what I'm going to be talking about in life. Or if I'm in Italy and want to explain to a cousin or whatever what's happening, right? So those are things that I learned. So her lessons, I'm sure, are different for everybody, whatever's going on in everyone's life. Which I just have to say, Marta will probably agree, this is really weird for us because we only speak Italian, so to hear each other in English is probably very weird.
Yeah, that's the other thing, the immersive. It's immersive. You just speak Italian, even if you are a beginner from lesson number 1, because obviously we trained for that. We know how to do it.
Now, Marta, I'm going to ask you, the one thing you can't do is when I used to coach ice hockey years ago. I was in much better shape. And the one thing I saw was a lot of people would do things, again, for the wrong reason. They're using it, I want to make money off this, or I want my kid to play, or, so they do things for the wrong reasons. When you see, you can't fake passion. You can't fake caring about people. People can pick that up right away. So you can be friendly to somebody, but that doesn't mean you care about them. Now, you have a lot of students, and everybody, you're very well thought of. You're a very sincere person. Do you ever burn out? Do you ever just emotionally get drained from it because you care? You see, if I don't care, I don't have any emotion. I just go through the motions. Give me your money, buongiorno, come va, sto bene, etc., etc. But if I care about you, I want you to learn it. So do you ever struggle with, sometimes you just feel like I don't have it?
I do. I burn out.
Usually with Chrissy.
Ho
detto con Chrissy.
Con Chrissy, no. But not only because maybe the students are not learning at the pace I would like them to do. It's just that you put so much passion in what you do that you are really tired at the end. And also because you are planning and thinking every lesson in a different way, especially now that the lessons are online. So you really change maybe little things for every student you have, because you want to make that experience the right one for your
Really
students.
personalized, yeah.
So it's draining in a way. And also I mean, I care about my students, and sometimes I don't know if I can say this, but sometimes we also cry. I mean, it happens because maybe we're talking about um, students' life, and I care about them, and I sincerely feel sad if they tell me something that is upsetting for them. It's like real life in another language for them. It's not. It's an experience. It's not just.
She just doesn't read a
Not
textbook
only.
for us. That's not what we're doing.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny because when I first started as a professor, if I even gave a student a bad grade, I used to feel bad. I said, oh man, I got to give them a bad grade. And then someone said to me, one of my colleagues, she gave me some advice. She says, look, you're not giving them that grade; they're earning that grade. And then it took me a while to kind of, I just waved at somebody again on the air, but it took me a while to realize that I can't care more than the student. And so in a university setting, there are too many students that go through the motions. And like we talked about before, if I'm going to voluntarily pay my money to study Italian, there must be a passion there. But we now, like I said, Marta, now you've gotten to know so many people, and that's why I said, does it drain on you? And as you become a part of their life, they become a part of your life. Your videos, I still think fondly of sitting down in my basement with the TV, my little notebook, taking notes from Marta. And by the way, I missed the wand. You still have the wand, right?
The flower?
The flower. And oh, by the way, one funny thing. Every time now, when I say perché, I do it like you. I go perché, because you do that in your videos. I thought it was the greatest thing in the world.
I do a lot of toccate.
Yes. So, Marta, I want you to know that, again, you are having an awesome and positive impact on folks. Now, again, kind of some final thoughts. You're going to continue to do this. Do you see yourself changing your approach, doing anything different, offering this in a different way in the future? I mean, are you going to change anything coming down?
Obviously, I'm not getting any younger, I have to say, and and there are a lot of much younger YouTubers on YouTube. And so, but with Alex, my partner in crime in Passione Italiana, we are trying to expand this. So maybe go a little bit more in the backstage. And we have an app as well. So my videos are in an app. So I prepare the activities, the exercises for every video, and Alex does the same. And I think this is my future. I can tweak some things here and there. Maybe, I don't know, in 10, 15 years, I don't want to tell you how old I will be, but maybe I will.
30, Marta, 30.
So much maybe to train other teachers for our business, because we have teachers working with us, but they are very, very carefully selected. And they are teachers I know, I worked with, and they have the same passion, because they need to be flexible as well with all the students they find, and they need to accommodate student needs.
Well, I will say,
maybe, looking for.
I will say that I was so lucky to be able to get Marta, but as you said, that she's so popular that she can't be everybody's teacher. So that's why I'm so happy that I was able to kind of bring her here to introduce everybody to my awesome teacher. But so she mentioned about their app, and that's kind of bringing her into everybody. And with your app, Marta, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's kind of at your own pace, and there's exercises and everything to as to what you said before, Marta, to kind of make people active in it and applying it. So That's one of
Like
the things that's,
in a real lesson. Yeah.
yeah,
Like I would do in a real lesson, that
yeah.
order
Yeah,
of
exactly.
activities.
To
Yeah.
build on it all. Exactly. Exactly. Don't you, if anybody wants to, uh, is interested, there's a discount code, right?
Sconto.
Yeah, there's a discount
Non ho
code.
bisogno di
Exactly.
pagare abbastanza.
If anybody's
Non ho bisogno di
interested
pagare
in it.
troppo.
What?
Non ho bisogno di pagare troppo.
Ah, esatto. Esatto. No, but it's FTT 10. And you
I tell you what, I'll
it's
put
like
that. You know what,
10% off.
Marta? If you give me that, I'm going to put a link. I'm going to put a link to Passione Italiana. I'll put the code in there if you want to give me the discount code.
Yeah.
That'll be down in the description.
Yes.
I encourage people to
I
go
will.
check it out. And now, Marta, I want to ask you kind of a final question because I've been studying in some form or another Italian, but I've never gone to a formal school. I've done at best adult lessons. A lot of what I've learned in Italian has been through, and I'm not kidding, through your videos, buying books. I have even used CDs. Yes, I'm old. CDs, and just being forced to speak it when I would go to Italy. By the way, Marta, I've released 2 international documentaries in Italian, so I'm going to send you the links to those. In fact, I just and you talk about your passion. That was my passion, was the Italian culture and not forgetting the past. So I made that my passion and I pursued it. But I want to ask you something because sometimes I wonder, am I just no good at Italian? Do you feel, or can anybody learn this language well, or do you feel like, Steve, you're okay, but what do you tell people that just don't seem to be picking it up? Because in realtà non penso di imparare bene l'italiano.
Per te. No, I mean, it depends. I know that you want an answer to this question.
Yes,
But
immediatamente.
How long is a piece of string? Is that a saying in English? It's difficult because it depends on what you want. I mean, what does good enough in Italian mean? Do you want to go there and talk to the barista to order a coffee and that's your aim? Do you want to study in an Italian university and have a degree in Italian? I mean, there's a lot of different goals you want to reach. So it depends on that. So if someone really needs a C1 certification, so we have to work hard on the level. And I mean, I've got a different approach, and then I can see if you can or if you can't. But if you want, you can. You can do the exam. If your goal is to go to Italy, talk to my family, make myself understood, communicate with people, we absolutely no problem. You can do that as well. You can reach that goal. Maybe you want to always use your subjunctives correctly, but to be honest, not all Italians do. So
True too.
Well, just like not all Americans speak English correctly.
Right. That's true.
So.
I mean, depends on what you want to reach. If you want to write a book, maybe you're too slow when you speak, but you don't care about that because you want to write correctly in Italian. So I think everyone can reach the goal that wants to, if they work hard. And work hard doesn't mean spend hours on books. It could mean listen to conversations, go to Italian speak, read books, talk to the teacher. It doesn't mean doing exercises all the time. I don't mean that by hard work. It's just put your head into Italian.
Well, that's one of the things that I want to say too for people that are learning, because for Americans, we understand we're either fluent or we know nothing. Like you speak it or you don't. And there's so many different levels of fluency to what Marta was saying about different levels. So a lot of Americans, if they're not learning a language, don't understand that. That's something that I learned and I understand differently now. Definitely, because I'm never going to be native. And that's okay. But that doesn't mean that I can't communicate with a native and can't be understood. But there's always going to be some some little thing here or there, and that's okay. That's normal. And the biggest thing to what Marta was saying before, at least for me, I think she was talking about being comfortable and just not being stressed and having your confidence. So I think that'll get you very far as well.
By the way, you both said something very important. One, and I don't, for some reason, just never realized this. You can't be a native Italian speaker if you aren't born and raised with the language. So you have to accept immediately that there's going to be a limitation. And I think that's something I never really thought of till just now. But
You're welcome, Steve.
You're well, thank you, Chrissy. But Martha, you said something. I don't know that I've ever had a goal of where I wanted to be with Italian. I just say, and I think a lot of people fall into this trap. They say, I want to learn a language. Okay.
Yes.
How much of the language and for what purpose do you want to learn the language? And I never thought of that. I personally, at times, have teetered with I would love to be C1 level. Why? Because I felt like if I was C1, then I could go to Italy and have a conversation about anything. What's funny, I keep waving to people in the studio. But what's funny is I find myself having conversations on things I never thought I would talk about with Italians. Perfect example. My relatives came a couple weeks ago from Italy for the first time to America. And we're talking about things that I'm like, come si dice, come si dice, come si dice, because I never learned that topic because I never thought I would be talking about that. Now, when I think back 5 years ago, the fact that I can even have a partial conversation about something I probably never really deeply studied, I should maybe say, you know what, maybe you do speak it not so bad. But to your point, you might be fluent, but at what level? And that's why I do like the chills. The chills exams does kind of measure you. Are you a beginner level? Are you intermediate? Are you advanced? And then you have those sub levels. So I want to kind of ask you both this. When it comes to language, formal language exams, and Marta, kind of building off of what you said, do I want to just talk to the barista or do I want to talk with family members about local politics? Do you find value in your goal being achieving, say, B1, B2, C1, C2? And I'll start with you, Chrissy, then Marta.
Sure. So for me, that was my first goal, to hit the B1, because I needed that to get my citizenship. It was part of what was required for me. So I had to do that. But when I was first going for the B1 and everything it required, I thought, well, this is fluent. What are you talking about? Like, I'm not there. But now that I know so much more, I'm like, oh my gosh, it was only halfway. But now I realize that. At the time, I didn't. So to your point, like, yes, I'm hoping to get to C1 and whatnot and get way more advanced. So it does kind of help. But when I first went in, it was, I have to get this B1. And then I was like, well, now I'm all warmed up. Let's just keep going. So that's kind of where I was in on it. That's what happened to me. But Marta, what were you going to say about it? I thought I cut her off.
Yeah, I think that I personally, this is only my personal opinion, that these exams like CILT, CELI, they are useful if you need them, only if you need them. Like Chrissy for her passport, or other students because they need that to obtain the permission to live in Italy, or students that need that level to enroll in at university. So if you need, or because it happens, it happened to me that some students needed at some point, not from the beginning, at some point needed personally to test themselves, like to have a goal. Like, I know I'm B2 now. Marta, can we please prepare for the exam? Because I feel like I want to do it. It's just a goal that I want to reach now, just for my personal fulfillment. Okay, so this is good. But in general, I don't think, if you want to learn Italian for your passion, you don't need the qualification. Because I also have to say that, like any exam, you need to learn how to do the exam more than you have to, and you have to learn the technique of that kind of questions more than. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Yes.
You know, it's funny because it's exactly why I took the exams early on. I needed to have a measuring stick. Was I learning Italian? So the first one I did was the A2. This is years and years ago, and I passed it. But it was kind of hard, and it made me realize that I'm still struggling with listening. So then later on, I did the B1, and I actually did not pass one of the sections. I think it was the listening section again, because what I realized, now to your point, Marta, it's not so much about the tests, but what it taught me was I had an idea of where I was and what I needed to work on. Sono un cittadino italiano. So I non ho bisogno di fare un esame per chills, but I just needed a measuring stick. So kind of some final thoughts. How do you then tell your students, how can you measure success with your students? Not with the exams, but is there another way you can do that?
Yeah, I normally measure the success of my lessons because actually I wanted to add something very quickly about burnout that we care about our students. And sometimes the burnout is also because I think, oh my gosh, I haven't prepared the lesson that I wanted. Oh my gosh, the lesson didn't go as well as I wanted. I made this mistake. And I really keep thinking about it. Still, after 22 years of teaching. So the burnout comes from that as well.
Stress.
Because
Stressato, sì, capisco.
Yeah, it's not, okay, I've done my work, who cares?
Right.
It's not like that.
And that's my point, because there are a lot of these, you pay me $10 an hour, $20 an hour, $250 for 8 lessons, and it's like, arrivederci. We're done, your 40 minutes is up, your hour's up, bye. They don't, but anyways, okay, so measuring success.
Yeah, success mainly for me, and so for the kind of language I'm teaching. So normally for people who just learning for pleasure, it's students' happiness. If they are happy with what they're doing and where they are, I'm happy. But in the frame of, are they really making any progress? Because if they're happy but they're actually not going anywhere at all, then I'm not happy. Obviously. But in the frame that, regardless the pace, they are making progress. I'm happy when I see they are satisfied. For example, if I see that they are making progress in communicating. So starting, for example, with a student who is an A0, so nothing at all in Italian. And after a week, this student can, 7 lessons, sorry, not a week. He can have a little conversation with me. Very, very basic, very, very basic. But we can have a little conversation. That's a huge thing, I think, that they reached. And so I'm happy. And seeing this conversation getting more and more complicated, even if the grammar is not always correct. Okay, then we are working on the grammar at the same time to make it correct. But seeing that they've got the confidence to use the language I'm teaching them to speak, I think that's great. That gives me using something that we've seen together and using it that like 2 weeks later in a sentence. That's the measure of success for me.
Absolutely. No, I know that when Marta has taught me very much to let go of not being perfect, and it's not going to be perfect, and that's okay. But the point is across, the understanding is across, and that really keeps your confidence up and keeps you going. And I think Marta would agree that we have pretty happy lessons with everything. So I know I enjoy it, and it's something that I get a lot out of, not just with language, but with achievement for myself. It's something that I do for myself. So.
All right, I'm going to ask a final question, Marta. Here it is. Before we give you some final thoughts, I want to ask you, when someone's learning a language, early on they're trying to translate everything in their brain, and what happens is they miss the conversation. How is that? Just a repetition of sounds, or does your body naturally change? Because I still feel like sometimes I'm trying to translate a word and now they're 10 words ahead of me.
Yeah, don't do that.
I don't know how else to do it.
You got to just keep
don't do
listening.
that.
You have to just keep putting input and listening. Sorry,
I
Marta.
sorry.
No, I'm sorry. I got
No,
excited.
sorry.
I was just telling Steve, you have to keep putting input and retrain yourself not to do that anymore, because you just have to just take the whole conversation in and not get stuck on that. The more you listen and
I feel
have
like
that
I'll
input,
miss something though, but
let it go. Just start singing Frozen. Let it go. Sorry, Marta, continue.
Yeah, you're overthinking at that point. You need not to overthink when you're speaking a language. What's important is that you have to lower your, it's called affective filter. So you need to feel relaxed. And if you think about the grammar, you're not relaxed. So what you need to do is don't translate, especially because I'm not saying it's universal, but my point of view, it's better if everything is in Italian. So never translations, don't translate in your head, listen to the whole sentence, have a gist of the sentence, and then you can work out the whole thing and give an answer. Otherwise, you will get lost.
One of the
This
great
is the first
skills
thing.
when you're learning a language, Marta, correct me if I'm wrong, is being able to, if you don't have the exact word, being able to change into what you do know to get the point across.
Yeah, exactly. That's what good. Well done, Chrissy. What I teach my students is don't stop all the time. You can do it once if you want to know the word, but don't stop the conversation because you're looking for a word that you can't find. Find or a structure that you can't make. Find another way to say that.
well, I try
And
to
I
listen.
normally show when they can find it. They normally can find it.
And I try and listen to
Don't-
like Italian radio, and the problem is because I want to get more of a native. So I try and listen to them talk, and what happens is you pick up maybe every third or fourth word, and you're trying to put the sentence together, and you're like, okay, and if you don't know enough of the vocabulary, you're never going to understand the context. But I struggle with, like, I feel like I probably know the words, but yet I just can't,
My advice to you is to not just do audio, because to me it's hard, just like on the telephone, it's harder. So if you're watching, for me, and Marta knows, one of my favorite things to do is to watch Italian one series, but you have to get to a certain point. If you start at A0 trying to watch an Italian, you're going to blow your mind away. But once you get to a certain point, which I think you are, Steve, and you start watching things, you get so much more from the body language and the context that it's much more helpful to me than just the audio. Would you agree, Marta?
Yeah, true. Absolutely. I agree. And also what I was saying about the being relaxed is that when you are feeling okay, when you're relaxed, you learn much better first, and you can speak much better. I laugh sometimes and I tell my students, if you want a glass of wine while we're doing the lesson, have it, because it helps you relax. And you can really you can really express yourself. Just one, because you go 2, 3, maybe you're drunk and it's just an example. I mean, it's something I laugh about. Obviously, they don't drink wine normally, but it's sometimes with groups, for example, the first lessons, I ask them to, it's not something that I invented, it's in the techniques that they tell you when you're trained as a teacher with the communicative methodology. It's the students need to talk, to chat to each other about different topics, holding a balloon in their hand, trying to not to let the balloon fall down, because this way their concentration is on the balloon and they relax, they don't think of the grammar, and they can speak more
So I might,
in a more relaxed way.
what I might be crazy is I'm going to
So-
take a balloon with me to Rome. Buongiorno, come va? Mi
Juggling.
piacerebbe molto.
Yeah, it helps you take your mind away from, oh my gosh, I need to talk in a foreign language.
That's a good.
Exactly. I know. I live in a different country. I know this every time. Sometimes I'm so tired that I say, I don't want to talk to the other mom because I don't want to speak English.
It's
So I understand.
but I'll say, what it's funny is whenever I would go to Italy, and I was forced a lot of times to speak only Italian, and I don't think people understand is how tired your brain gets from bouncing
Yeah.
between languages. I mean, by the end of the day, I was mentally exhausted. And it was like I didn't really do anything, but I was so tired because I was bouncing English, Italian, English, Italian, English, Italian, English, Italian, and it's a good mental exercise.
Oh, it's exhausting. I have 2 kids, so when we go over and they don't really know much Italian, so I'm usually translating in the moment between English and Italian, and I'm exhausted. I'm like, oh, you really got to learn Italian, guys, because this is tough.
All right, Marta. I'm going to give you the final word. Yes, we're all done. But how can folks find you all and tell us about the videos and where they can go find your videos?
So you can find Passione Italiana on YouTube. We've got videos of different levels. Alex and I do these videos. They are in playlists as well, so you can follow the order we have planned for you. We have a website, passione-italiana.com, dove trovate sorry.
Good for you.
Where you can find free resources as well that you can download, and we have group courses as well with our teachers, one-to-one lessons, and the app that we are working on. It's ready, and it's our little baby that we are really, really, really working hard on this project. It's really taking most of our time, and we really love it.
Oh, that's fantastic. Marta, I was so excited to have you on as a guest. I mean that. You were absolutely fantastic. Chrissy, thank you again. I'm going to put in the camera to Chrissy now. Hello, Chrissy.
Thanks, Steve.
This is a fun episode. This is, Marta, we talk about passion. When I first started doing podcasts, it was a passion. Sometimes you just don't feel like doing it. You feel like, okay, I owe it, I got to do it. But when I have an episode like today, and I mean this is fun. This is why we should be doing what we do. We should enjoy it. If you're doing it just because you think you're going to get rich, you're going to get money, you're doing it for the wrong reasons, and that's when you're going to not want to do it very long. So you either do it because you want to do it or don't do it at all. Because if you want to do it, you're going to put your heart into it, and you're going to be more successful at it. So don't just do it thinking, I'm going to do this because I'm going to make money. There are too many people, not just with language, with businesses, with restaurants, with coffee shops, with clothing stores, you name it. They're doing it to make money. And the problem with that is you can only do that so long before you're going to just say, I don't want to do this anymore. So I want to thank you guys both for coming into the studio.
Thank you, Steve.
No, it was fantastic.
Thank you.
And Marta, I'm going to put that link to Passione Italiana. And in fact, I'm going to actually download the app because I'm looking for more that I can do on my schedule. I'm just, oh my God, I'm just so stupidly busy. But anyways, but Marta, grazie mille, Chrissy. I'm going to give you the kind of a thought here, and then we go to Marta.
Thank you. Thanks to Marta. Thank you, Steve. And thanks to everybody listening. I hope we helped with something.
It was fantastic. Marta,
It was fun.
Final thoughts, Marta. You're on the air, Marta. So
Tocca a te.
Tocca a te.
My last word. No, my last word sounds bad. Studiate italiano. Learn Italian. It's a wonderful language.
It's a bellissimo. All right, Marta.
I second that.
È una lingua meravigliosa. E grazie mille, Steve. Grazie, Christy. Davvero, it was a fantastic opportunity to be here. I was a bit nervous, but really, you made me feel at ease, and I'm so happy.
Oh no, I am just as giddy. I'm as giddy as the schoolboy. I had my favorite teacher on. So thank you, Marta. And folks, I want to thank everyone listening to the podcast, and we hope you come back and tune in again. And every time I look away, it's because somebody keeps walking by the window. But don't let that distract you. Again, thank you for tuning in. Thanks, Joe, for being a wonderful engineer. And Claudio, I miss you, buddy, and we'll talk soon. Thanks again, everybody. Have a wonderful week.
Ciao, Chrissy. Your Italian got so much better. Brava.
Grazie. It's because I learned the best way possible.
How so?
Well, I learned that with apps, grammar books, and even YouTube videos, I could only get so far. I had to immerse myself. I noticed I did best when I was in Italy visiting family. That's where my level really soared.
And wow, did it work?
Thanks. I became much more confident, fast. That's why I created Footsteps Through Time. It's an Italian language experience. You don't just take Italian classes, you immerse yourself in a real Italian village. With lots of fun activities and excursions, it's life-changing.
I see. So, no more boring grammar, impersonal apps, just real conversations, real culture, and delicious food, of course.
Exactly. I'm so excited about this. Learn Italian by actually becoming part of the local community for a week and living it. So if you've been dreaming of Italy and the language, check out Footsteps Through Time in Italy.com. Book now and join the experience.
Andiamo!
Thanks to Greater Pittsburgh Travel. For any of your travel needs, let Tom and the team at Greater Pittsburgh Travel know and they'll take care of you. For more information, call 412-331-2244 or visit their website at www.greaterpittsburghtravel.com. And we want to thank the Calabria Club of Pittsburgh. If you're interested in learning more, you can find their contact information on Facebook at Calabria Club of Pittsburgh. Again, thanks Domenica and the team at the Calabria Club of Pittsburgh for your support.
Hello everyone, my name is Claudio Relsano, and I am the author of the book, Lead from the Heart Up, Not the Neck Up, How to Create a Positive Winning Culture on the Field and in the Office. My years as a head baseball coach and a general manager of a pro baseball scouting company, I know that my leadership experiences that I've included in this book will help you become a better leader. You can get the book at ClaudioRelsano.com. Speaking of ClaudioRelsano.com, you can listen to my show, The Claudio Relsano Show, where I've interviewed such legends as Mario Andretti, Dick Vermeil, Rocky Blyer, and many, many others. And I also have an entrepreneurial program there talking about my entrepreneurial experiences. So hopefully that will help you and hopefully you will enjoy that. And also, Sports Corner, hosted by Ralph Williams, co-host with myself, Jim Frazier, and Luther Dupree Jr. We appear on 92.5 FM, 1250 AM, The Answer, Salem Radio, every Saturday here in Pittsburgh, 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. I hope you enjoy the show. I hope you enjoy all the shows, and I hope you enjoy my book.
We'd also like to thank Chris Gonzalez from the Knights of Columbus. If you have any questions about joining the Knights of Columbus, reach out to Chris Gonzalez at 412-605-9074.
Mother's Day is the most disappointing day for mothers. Don't send Mom a text. Show her some love with a book that will make her laugh out loud. Buy her Come On Down, a little story about my Italian mom's big dream. Writer Fran Tuno tells the underdog story of her Italian mom's need to win big, feed people, and pray her kids marry and give her grandchildren. Plus, Come On Down has delicious recipes. Moms love those. Find Come On Down on Amazon and all large retailers. Learn more at frantunno.com.
Thank you for listening to Talking Business and Life with Claudio Relsano and Steve Mancini. Tune in next week for more impactful business and life experiences with Claudio and Steve.